Hi, welcome to the On the Floor review of the 2018 Trek FX3. Now before I get started, here's a little backstory. For the last, 8 years, I've been trying to find a do-it-all bicycle for riding on pavement and dirt, exclusively rail trails, so blacktop rail trails, hard-packed dirt rail trails. I've had a few hybrid bikes with suspension. I've had a few fitness bikes without suspension, and they were tolerable. You know, I'd ride them on the dirt. Yeah, you feel the little vibrations occasionally, little bumps. And I figured, that's okay. Doesn't bother me, I'll get through it. The bike's lighter and more agile, and I'll get through the trail, no problem. Well, recently I decided enough is enough. It's time to get two bicycles, one specifically for paved trails and one for dirt trails. So that's where we are today. So I set out to try and find an economical mountain bike to ride the dirt trails, and I have my Trek FX3 to ride the paved trails. And the reason why is you just can't beat a mountain bike for dirt. Surprise!
Victory is mine!
With the higher volume tires and the wider tires and knobbies, etc., you're going to have a more comfortable ride. The lower air pressure helps a lot. The wider tires help a lot. And of course the suspension helps depending on how bumpy the terrain is. Now for the dirt trails that I ride, they're fairly hard packed, but they do have stones and bumps and ruts, but it's nothing extravagant. So, you know, I don't need a dual suspension mountain bike. I don't need a high-end mountain bike for this kind of riding. I just need a nice
Ooh, aren't you the one in charge?
a bike with enough features that it makes the ride comfortable, and yet it's good pedaling, efficient pedaling, and fairly quick. So I decided on a Specialized Rockhopper 29er. So as you can see, this is the Rockhopper. It's in a candy gloss red / Viper. I guess the Viper is the greenish yellowish part of the bike. We have an Acera in the back derailleur and an Altus on the front. Not the lowest, you know, it's above the lowest derailleurs. They work perfectly fine, totally adequate. It shifts great, actually. So it's an 8-speed in the back and a 3-speed in the front, so we got 24 gears, and I tell you what, that front small gear is very small. It will help you up just about any hill that you may happen to go up, although on my rail trails there's really not too many hills. Has a Suntour XCT front suspension fork, which is not certainly not a very high priced fork, but it does have preload adjust, and it does have a lockout feature, and depending on the size frame, it's between 80 and 100 millimeters of travel, which for just hard packed dirt trails, we're not talking single track here, is perfectly adequate. It also comes with mechanical disc brakes, front and of course rear. The tires are Specialized Ground Control 29 by 2.1 with the flat jacket puncture protection. And these come with the traditional Schrader valves as you would find on car tires, so very easy to fill. Don't have to unscrew the little valve first. I must say the original handlebar that was on here was extremely wide. I think it was between 28 and 29 inches wide, which just felt a bit too wide for me. I actually cut these down to where they're 26 inches wide now, and I replaced the stock grips, which were just a round grip, and put this type of grip on, and put the bar ends on here. So for me it's a lot more comfortable for the kind of riding that I do. I also swapped out the pedals. This came with some fairly fat nylon platform pedals. I put these fixation pedals on, which are very nice. I had them off of another bike. They're thinner, and they got all the little screws sticking up for traction. So and I like the looks of them a lot better than the fat platform as well. Moving back up to the top, I did swap out the stem. The stem that came in this bike was very short to go with the very wide handlebar. It was a little low for me. I mean, I wasn't getting any pain or anything riding. I just don't like leaning over that far. So I put a higher angle stem on there to go with the shorter bar to retain the handling that the bike has. So how does this bike ride, you ask? Very nicely, thanks for asking. On the dirt trails with these tires, the range is 25 to 50, and I have them somewhere between 25 and 30 for the dirt trails, and you hit the bumps and everything, and half the time you hear them more than you feel them. So it's great compared to just riding a non-suspended hybrid bicycle or a fitness bike on the dirt. It's definitely better. If you have the room, it's certainly better to have each style of bike if you're going to do two styles of riding. But have these 29 tires, they're big, and when you get going, it goes pretty good. You got a good amount of rotational mass on there, and I'd say on the flats on this dirt trail of the day, comfortable doing 12 to 14. One spot I had a burst of energy after lunch, and it was a steak salad, very good. For I don't know, 5 or 6, 7 seconds, it's got up to 20 miles an hour in the dirt, which is pretty fast on a flat dirt trail, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway.
Oh, splendid!
But,
this calls for a sexy
no
party.
problem, on a flat sections, averaging 12, 13. Depends how fast you want to ride and how much effort you want to put into it, I guess. But the bike is a little heavy. It's 33 pounds. But 33 pounds for a bike that cost around $517, $519, something like that, not so bad. I had a cross trail a number of years ago that was a hybrid with suspension fork, and that was 31.5. So it's only 1.5 pounds heavier than that. So just the tires and tubes alone, these bigger fat tires, you're going to add weight. Plus, I'm sure the frame is a little beefier than what was on the cross trail. So I can't really put that down too much. So to conclude, I mean, if you ride dirt trails, not single track. If you do single track, you might want something a little higher up the food chain, a little better fork, maybe a higher up Suntour or RockShox, or a higher version of the Rockhopper. I'm sure has the higher components, or you could even go with a full suspension bike. But for riding your regular hard packed dirt, wide like carriage trails or converted rail bed trails, rail trails, this bike is really good. I have really no complaints about it, and hopefully I'll have it for a while. Thanks for watching.